There is a building material that costs less than a bag of groceries to produce. It has held together the longest continuous structure ever built by human hands. Not for a decade, not for a century, but for over 600 years. And it is still going. It resists earthquakes. It shrugs off heavy rain. Modern demolition crews have cracked their own equipment trying to tear it apart. In one documented case, a bulldozer broke before the mortar did. The primary ingredient is not a patented resin, an engineered polymer, or a laboratory compound. It is something sitting in your kitchen pantry right now. Rice. Cooked rice mixed with lime and packed into the joints between stone and brick. That is the formula that built the Great Wall of China during the Ming Dynasty, beginning in 1368. That is the formula confirmed in laboratory conditions by material scientists at Zhejiang University, where it outperformed standard lime mortar across every measurable category. This is the story of sticky rice mortar, the most durable binding compound the ancient world ever produced, and what modern science has since confirmed about why it still works. To understand where this formula came from, you need to travel back to roughly 500 AD in southern China during the Northern Wei Dynasty. Builders at the time were working with the same tool that construction workers across the ancient world relied on, lime mortar. It was the standard binding paste of the era, used in Rome, Greece, Persia, and Egypt alike. And it had a persistent, maddening weakness. It cracked when the ground shifted. It softened and eroded under heavy rainfall. In northern climates, it crumbled through repeated freeze and thaw cycles. Walls that took years to construct could begin separating at the joints within a single generation. The problem was not craftsmanship. It was the material itself. Somewhere in the construction workshops of that period, an unknown builder did something no one in the Western world had thought to attempt. They cooked a batch of glutinous rice into a thick, sticky porridge, the same dense congee eaten for breakfast across Southeast Asia, and poured it directly into a batch of slaked lime mortar. The results were immediately apparent. The mortar gripped stone with a tenacity that standard lime could not approach. It shed water in a way no mineral-only mortar had ever managed. And instead of weakening with age, the way every other binding compound did, this mixture actually continued to harden over time. Stronger after 10 years, stronger after 100, stronger after 500. The formula spread through construction guilds across China. Within decades, sticky rice mortar had become a closely guarded technique among master masons, used to build elite tombs, religious pagodas, and fortified city walls around the most strategically important settlements in the empire. It was not written into public texts. It was passed from master to apprentice, generation to generation, treated as an inheritance worth protecting. Section 3. The Ming Dynasty and the Then. In 1368, the Ming Dynasty came to power, and everything changed in scale. The Ming emperors had just overthrown the Mongol-led Yuan dynasty. They had witnessed firsthand what mobile cavalry could do to Chinese civilization, and they were determined to prevent it from happening again. Their response was the most ambitious construction project in human history, a complete reconstruction and expansion of the Great Wall of China. This was not the crumbling, rammed earth barriers that earlier dynasties had erected. The Ming Wall was engineered for permanence, massive kiln-fired bricks, standardized in size for the first time in Chinese construction history, stone blocks cut and fitted with military-grade precision, and holding every single one of those bricks and stones together, filling every joint and gap across more than 500 miles of continuous fortification. Sticky rice mortar. Construction workers cooked glutinous rice into a thick, starchy soup, combined it with slaked lime, limestone that had been heated to extreme temperatures and then hydrated, and packed the resulting paste between every course of masonry. The wall climbed over mountain ridges, descended into river valleys, and crossed stretches of desert. It endured Mongol siege attempts, typhoons, earthquakes measuring over 7 on the Richter scale, and 6 consecutive centuries of relentless weather exposure. Sections of the Ming Wall are so tightly bonded today that plant roots still cannot force their way between the joints. And in a case documented by structural researchers studying Ming Dynasty construction, a modern bulldozer was deployed against a Ming-era tomb built with this mortar. The machine failed before the structure did. That is not legend. That is a recorded finding from researchers evaluating the physical integrity of ancient Chinese masonry. A paste made from cooked rice and hydrated limestone outlasted a machine specifically engineered to demolish buildings. It's the science. For most of history, builders understood that sticky rice mortar worked. They simply did not know why. That changed in 2010. A team of chemists led by Dr. Bingjin Zhang at Zhejiang University published a landmark analysis and accounts of chemical research, one of the most respected journals produced by the American Chemical Society. After years of studying mortar samples taken from Ming Dynasty structures, running them through electron microscopes, spectrometers, and mechanical stress tests, they identified the mechanism responsible for sticky rice mortar's extraordinary performance. The key is a molecule called amylopectin. Amylopectin is a branched polysaccharide, a complex carbohydrate chain, and it exists in exceptionally high concentrations in glutinous rice, When cooked, rice porridge is mixed into slaked lime. Amylopectin does something chemically significant. It acts as a crystal growth inhibitor on the calcium carbonate that forms as the lime mortar cures. Here is why that matters. Standard lime mortar hardens through a process called carbonation. Calcium hydroxide, the active component of slaked lime, reacts with carbon dioxide in the surrounding air and gradually converts into calcium carbonate. That conversion is what produces the hard, stone-like material that holds masonry together. But in standard mortar, without any regulating agent, the calcium carbonate crystals grow large, irregular, and loosely packed. Large crystals leave voids. Voids allow moisture to penetrate. Moisture expands during freezing, forces the crystals apart, and eventually cracks the mortar. This is the failure cycle behind virtually every deteriorating masonry joint you have ever seen. Amylopectin interrupts that cycle at the molecular level. It constrains crystal growth, forcing the calcium carbonate to form as smaller, more uniform, more densely packed structures. The resulting microstructure is dramatically tighter than anything standard lime mortar produces on its own. There are fewer voids, almost no open pathways for water, and an interlocking mineral matrix that repels moisture rather than absorbing it. In controlled laboratory comparisons, the Zhejiang research team found that sticky rice mortar demonstrated significantly greater compressive strength than conventional lime mortar, meaning it could bear substantially more load before failure. It showed dramatically superior water resistance, and it exhibited far greater compatibility with stone and brick, expanding and contracting at nearly the same rate as the materials it was bonding, rather than fighting against them and splitting the joint. Perhaps most remarkably, the researchers confirmed that the carbonation reaction inside rice-enhanced lime mortar does not terminate after a few weeks the way Portland cement curing does. It continues for years, for decades, for centuries. The Great Wall's mortar is, at a chemical level, still hardening today, more than 600 years after the last Ming Mason applied it. Section 5. The modern contrast, 930 to 1130. Compare that to Portland cement, the dominant building material of the modern world. Portland cement was patented in 1824 by a British bricklayer named Joseph Aspdin. It is manufactured by heating limestone and clay to extreme temperatures in massive rotary kilns, grinding the result into a fine powder, and distributing it through global supply chains to every hardware store on Earth. It is also the material inside every concrete driveway, every foundation wall, every sidewalk and retaining structure built in the last 2 centuries. Portland cement reaches its maximum strength within 28 days of being poured. After that point, it begins an irreversible decline, absorbing moisture, forming microcracks, spalling, and gradually losing the structural integrity it started with. Every concrete surface you have ever walked on peaked in strength less than a month after it was placed. From that moment forward, it has been getting weaker. The contrast with rice lime mortar could not be more direct. One material peaks within a month and then deteriorates indefinitely. The other continues gaining strength for centuries. The environmental footprint is equally stark. Cement production currently accounts for roughly 8% of all carbon dioxide emissions on Earth. If the cement industry were classified as a country, it would rank as the 3rd largest greenhouse gas emitter in the world, behind only the United States and China. Global cement emissions reached approximately 1.47 billion metric tons of CO2 in 2024, a figure that has more than doubled since the year 2000, with projections pointing toward 3.8 billion tons annually by 2050. Sticky rice mortar, by contrast, requires no industrial kilns, no energy-intensive manufacturing, and no global distribution infrastructure. Its carbon footprint is negligible. Section 6. How to make it. 1130, 1409s. The formula is not complicated. Here's exactly how it works in practice. Step 1. The rice. Begin with glutinous rice, also sold as sweet rice or sticky rice. This is not standard long-grain white rice. Glutinous rice contains a substantially higher concentration of amylopectin, which is the molecule responsible for all the structural benefits described above. It is available at Asian grocery stores and most well-stocked supermarkets for roughly $2 to $4 per pound. A single pound is sufficient for a substantial batch of mortar. Cook the rice in excess water until it breaks down completely into a thick, starchy porridge, well beyond the point at which you would normally eat it. The goal is to release as much amylopectin into the liquid as possible. When stirred, the mixture should be visibly thick, cloudy, and adhesive. Some traditional approaches call for pounding the cooked rice into a smooth paste using a mortar and pestle, which increases starch extraction further. Either method is effective. Step 2. The lime. While the rice cooks, prepare your slaked lime. This is sold at hardware stores under the labels hydrated lime, calcium hydroxide, or type S lime, typically for $5 to $10 per 50-pound bag. That single bag will produce enough mortar for a substantial project. Slaked lime is simply limestone that has been heated and then combined with water to produce a smooth, workable paste. Step 3. Combining them. Mix the rice porridge or paste directly into the slaked lime at a ratio of approximately 3% to 5% rice, by weight of the total mortar batch. This proportion matters. Research confirms that even small additions of sticky rice significantly improve mortar performance, but exceeding 5% can reduce structural strength. Mix thoroughly until you have a smooth, lump-free paste. Step 4. Adding sand. For use as a working mortar on brick, stone, or masonry, the same way you would use any conventional mortar product, combine the rice lime binder with clean sand at a ratio of roughly 2 to 3 parts, sand per 1 part binder. Add water gradually until the mixture reaches a workable consistency, firm enough to hold its shape on a trowel, but fluid enough to spread cleanly into joints. Step 5. Application and curing. Apply the mortar exactly as you would any traditional lime mortar product. Pack it firmly into joints, eliminate air pockets, and finish the surface with a trowel or pointing tool. During the first several days, mist the finished work lightly with water to slow surface drying and support the carbonation process. Unlike Portland cement, which cures through rapid chemical hydration, lime mortar cures through slow atmospheric carbonation, absorbing carbon dioxide from the surrounding air and gradually converting back into calcium carbonate. This slow curing is precisely what produces its superior long-term durability. Within the first week, the mortar will begin to firm. Within the first month, it will be structurally sound. And from that point, the chemistry continues. Section 7. Honest limitations, 1430. Sticky rice mortar is not a universal replacement for every modern concrete application, and it is worth being clear about that. It is a lime-based binder. It does not achieve the rapid, high compressive strength that Portland cement reaches within its first weeks. For load-bearing structural applications, bridge supports, high-rise foundations, heavily trafficked roadways, modern engineered concrete remains the appropriate material. Lime mortar also requires air circulation to carbonate correctly, making it unsuitable for deep interior fills where carbon dioxide cannot penetrate effectively. That said, for the vast majority of residential and historic masonry work, garden walls, brick facades, stone patios, chimneys, walkways, retaining walls, sticky rice lime mortar is not merely adequate. Researchers have described it as the most suitable restoration mortar for ancient masonry currently available. It flexes with temperature changes instead of cracking rigidly. It allows moisture to pass through rather than trapping it inside walls where it freezes and causes spalling. And it self-repairs, minor cracking over time as ongoing carbonation gradually fills microscopic gaps that would become structural failures in cement-based products. Section 8. Closing. 1430-15. The American Ceramic Society, one of the oldest materials science organizations on the planet, published an analysis describing sticky rice mortar as a functional ancestor to modern macro-defect-free cements, noting that ancient Chinese builders were performing wet chemistry and molecular self-assembly in their mixing troughs long before modern science had the equipment to observe the mechanism. They called it a sophisticated intersection of biology, chemistry, and ceramic engineering. The city walls of Xi'an, built with this mortar, are still standing after more than 600 years of weather, warfare, and urban development. The city walls of Nanjing, the same formula, same story. Pagodas, tombs, and fortifications across southern China built with this mortar have survived earthquakes that leveled modern concrete structures around them. The formula was never lost. It was documented in academic journals, preserved in construction records, confirmed by electron microscopy, and validated in one of the most respected chemistry publications in the world. The chemistry between cooked rice and slaked lime has not changed in 1,500 years. It does not expire. It does not require a factory. And the structures it produced are still standing, while concrete poured in the last decade is already showing cracks.